Ask yourself, are you bitter towards women? Are you deeply resentful and mistrusting? So one of my subscribers recently left me a comment on one of my videos, and I found this comment so profound and so congruent with my method of thinking that I thought I would share it with you, and it was addressing the hypocrisy of the red pill. Now, while this video isn't going to be dedicated to exposing or denigrating any influences in the red pill community, I do think it's important to delineate for many of you who watch my videos and many of you who also watch videos belonging to some of these red pill influencers, that you understand first and fundamentally that this is a stage in the maturation of masculinity. Like puberty or adolescence, it is something that you will inevitably go through. However, many of you get stuck here, and we don't want you stuck in puberty. We don't want you stuck in adolescence. We want you to evolve into the next greatest version of yourself, the most complete version of yourself, the most whole version of yourself. So how do you get here? Well, many of you watching this video will have been burned in your lifetime by women, and that will typically manifest itself in your adolescence or perhaps your early 20s. Perhaps you had a girlfriend that you thought you'd be with for the rest of your life, and she cheated on you, or she brought you some kind of pain and harm and emotional distress in some or any other kind of way. And this inevitably led you here, to the rational male, to Rollo Tomassi, to some of the red pill influencers who, like you, have been burned by this particular event in their lives. And then you'll proceed to spend the next 6 months or years divulging in some of this content, which illustrates that women are naturally hypergamous creatures, that in any given time they will trade you in for a newer model, a new, shinier, faster model with more money, with more trappings of wealth and success. And while this is true for not just many women, but many people, I think it does a great disservice to the traditional woman, to the more humble woman, to the woman who has a greater potential for family, for home, for education, some of the qualities, some of the values, that you and her may share. So if anything, this video is a red pill, ironically, in itself. And that red pill is that the red pill community really isn't red pill at all. It has an end goal in bitterness and resentment, in condemning the opposite sex. And in some ways you can liken it to the feminist movement from the female perspective. It's a totalitarian ideology, and it can possess the minds of many different men who subscribe again to some of these quote-unquote red pill influences. So again, and as I prefaced and I mentioned a caveat at the start, it's not to do any condemnation to some of these red pill influences, because like I mentioned, it's a very necessary component to your evolution as a man. But we shouldn't be so focused on the stage like we are focused on our pubic hair when we went through puberty. It's just a natural consequence of how we are going to move forward and articulate ourselves through life. So be mindful of that. Don't focus too much of your attention on spinning plates, as Rollo would tell you to do. But be open to being vulnerable to the right woman, because that particular identity, the monogamous identity of man, I believe is at the cornerstone of civilization. The family is at the cornerstone of civilization. And if we delve too deeply into this red pill material, then we will undo the very bedrock of what makes Western civilization great and fruitful. So men, this is a very short video in comparison to some of my others, but it's something for you to meditate on deeply. It's something for you to begin to scrutinize. Start thinking about the people that you follow, who you allow their dialogue and rhetoric to permeate your subconscious, and then what ideas you begin to think of on a daily basis, and ask yourself, are you bitter towards women? Are you deeply resentful and mistrusting of any interaction that you have with them? And if that is the case, as a a typical interaction, a typical mindset that you have with them, then you have some healing to do. Then that ideology has possessed your mind and has brainwashed you in some way or form. So be mindful, watch your thoughts, scrutinize them heavily, and begin to move from a place of appropriate skepticism, but also appropriate openness. Do not be closed to life. Do not be closed to women, because this will invariably bring you suffering exponentially. So, man, this was just a brief meditation, and I hope you found that valuable. And if you've subscribed to anything of what I've said, you can subscribe to me. I'll bring you something else very soon. Take care.